Do you use Zoom very often?
Um, I have not personally, but I've been part of congregations that use it for a lot of meetings and
Uh-huh.
all that. It's made a big difference. I was just thinking this morning, Al Parker was president of the congregation, and it was the night of a council meeting. And we had a rain that was so heavy, yet Al and I were jokingly calling it a tsunami.
Hmm.
And we canceled the meeting. Of course, 20 minutes later, the rain stopped totally. But that's the kind of thing that Zoom would have been perfect for.
Yeah. So did you meet any of your predecessors?
I knew John Sanborn fairly well. Um, and John was there for 12 years before me. I think, well, you knew John Wynn. John Wynn said of John Sanborn, the man was a saint.
Hmm. Hmm.
And he was just a gentle soul, just a really, really nice person
Hmm.
who was there whenever anybody needed him. And yeah,
Hmm.
just a
Hmm.
really good guy.
Okay. St. Paul's had been a part of the LCA, I think,
Mhm.
prior to the ELCA.
Yes.
So what was that transition like? I mean, I was not a Lutheran at that time, so I have no direct experience of any of that.
Um, I've got to say, in the Metropolitan New York Synod in general, and definitely in our conference, it didn't affect much of anything.
Hmm. There
I
was a lot of
think,
cooperation before that.
well, there had been an awful lot of cooperation in the Metro Synod. Um, we had been planning for a decade ahead of that. The ALC and the LCA really were very similar.
Hmm.
We did not have the Swede, Norwegian,
Yeah,
issues and
yeah.
some of the other issues that existed in many other parts of the country.
Hmm. So were you LCA yourself?
I was LCA, yeah.
Okay.
Although I grew up in an ALC congregation, I
Hmm.
joined the LCA when I was in college.
Okay. What college was that?
Like homing in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, you've never heard of it.
No.
No, no, nor has anyone else.
Did you grow up in Pennsylvania?
No, I grew up, well, I was born in the Bronx
Hmm.
and grew up in Levittown. So,
So you were baptized in the Bronx?
yes,
What congregation was that?
St. Matthew's Deutsche Lutheranische Kirche.
Hmm. So you were here when they opened the childcare center that's been now open for 25 years.
Has it been that
Yeah,
long?
2000 it opened, right?
Yes. Yeah, the child care center, if you'd like the whole history of
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
it came about one day. Gene Morrell and Corinne Conway said, "We need to talk with you." So we sat down in my office and they said, "We need to do something with the space downstairs. We need to have a child care center."
Hmm.
And I looked at them and I had heard stories from other pastors. And I believe I said, "Over my dead body." And that probably just encouraged them a bit more. But
Well, they didn't kill you anyway.
well, took a few years off my life, I suspect. They they worked tirelessly to establish the center, and then you know got some more people interested, and finally they got me to go along with them. Um, and I remember the process. And it sticks out in my head. There were 17 things that we had to present to the state in order to be licensed. And I dragged a folding table in from the Sunday school and set it up in the office and labeled it 1 through
Oh,
17.
yeah.
And couple of them were fairly easy. Our articles of incorporation got it. Yeah, one's done. But some of them were much more involved, inspections of the building and stuff. And but I sat there, and every week I could see it. We have, okay, one more done, one more done. And the process has to go, desk A to desk B to desk C. They can't do them out of order. And that meant there'd be a 2-week delay here and a 2-week delay there. The frustration level was awfully high, but ultimately we got through it.
So the other big thing when you were here was September 11th. You would have been here when all that happened.
The phone rang at about just before 9 o'clock, a few minutes before 9, and it was Jean Morel again. And she said, "Pastor, you've never listened to it, but I know you have a radio in your office. Turn it on." And I said, "Okay, what station?" She said, "It really doesn't matter." So I turned it on and started to hear all of this. 2 minutes later, the secretary, Adele Bogdansky, came in, and I just motioned her to sit down. And then Al Parker came in at 9:15 because we had a meeting that day. And I just motioned him to sit down. And the three of us sat there, with our jaws on the floor. And my biggest concern at that point was, knowing that at least half of the kids had parents who worked in New York City. I had no idea what was going to happen or how many of them worked at the World Trade Center or in that immediate area. So Al and I set about making a plan for what we would do with any kids who hadn't been picked up that night. The teacher, the director of the center, and the teachers ended up conveying messages from a mother to a father because they couldn't, their cell phones weren't working in New York, but they could get calls out. So we, to our amazement, the last child was picked up by about 3:30, which was hours before usual. And where were you then, Jim?
I was in the Bronx.
Oh, okay.
I was at Epiphany Lutheran Church in the Bronx.
Okay.
Did you know a Lutheran pastor, Richard Jeske?
Yeah, I knew Dick very well.
So his wife and his family are coming here now.
Are they? Okay, good. I know that his funeral was there.
Yes, yeah.
Dick, I met Dick when I was working on my D-Min, and he was the theology teacher for the program. So I got to know him through that. And then he and I were both part of Timotheans when he went to Central Park West, or Trinity, Holy Trinity Central Park West. So, I would see him every month with that.
Did you say Timotheans?
Yeah. Are you familiar?
No.
Okay. A group of pastors, originally LCA pastors, decided, that they were the young bucks, just like Timothy was. And they would get together every month. And it was actually pretty good. Each month, one of the members would present a paper that they had written or researched or whatever. And that could be some really strange things. And then in the afternoon would bring in someone who could speak about what was happening in the world. It expanded. It included ALC, Missouri Synod.
What year were you ordained?
73.
Okay. And where was that your ordination happened?
At the chapel at Susquehanna University.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, there were 28 of us ordained that night, which I can't imagine that happening. That barely happens through the whole church now.
Yeah, very different. Yeah. Sell a piece of property while you were here?
Right. We had owned, okay, you know where the big white house right behind the
Yeah,
church is? Okay, for a while that had been the church
yeah.
while sanctuary was being built. We sold that to the Episcopal Church,
Mm-hmm.
and they were using that for their Spanish ministry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's how we got that money, and some of it was used to, build the parking lot and finish off the meeting room downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And also, the village of Rybrook was assessing us water fees on the basis of our frontage on King Street.
Oh,
That's when we sold off half of our remaining property.
I want to thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. It was nice to take a trip down memory lane for what the memories are worth.
Yeah. So you're going to be doing any more interim ministry coming up, or?
I don't plan on it. Sometimes the synod has your name and they don't get rid of it. So I don't know. But I'm getting better at saying no now that
Yeah.
I'm as old as I am and get as tired as I
Yeah.
do.
Thank you very much.
Jim, how long have you been at St. Paul's?
15 years.
Wow, time flies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It's gone by very fast.
Yeah, it does. You turn around and yeah. I now have a 10-year-old granddaughter.
Oh,
So
wow. Yeah. You gonna think you're gonna be coming up to New York anytime soon?
we are not expecting to at all. Our son lives in Philadelphia now,
Mm-hmm.
and our daughter has moved here to Florida.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, thank you so much. It was good seeing
Thank you.
you. Yeah,
And give everyone my best, please.
I will. And you say hi to your family.
Will do. Thank you.